WLS Talk Radio 890 News. And Bob, it has been an unbelievable day while you've been talking insurance and stuff. The Soviets have approved the change toward democracy.
Oh, isn't that fantastic news?
Cab fares are going up.
Here we have a country that's going through a horrible economic turmoil, a country on the verge of civil war on two different fronts, a country with 20,000 nuclear weapons and a power vacuum. That's great news.
Yes, you summed it up quite well. This thing is brought about partially because they have those problems, which are so bad. They're caving in from all sides. You know, this Azerbaijani thing, and then what's been going on over in Poland and East Germany. This is just the tip of the iceberg, we're told. In fact, the only dissenting vote today in the move to do away with a key part of their Constitution, the only dissent to that was a guy who got up and said it wasn't going far enough and fast enough. So what we have here is a government, I think, trying to stay just barely. They're actually behind the curve of things as they're happening over there.
I obviously wish those people in that part of the world nothing but the best of success in determining their own course for the future, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm literally holding my breath for East Germany and Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia and Hungary and Poland and the Soviet Union. Because, boy, it could turn ugly in a real hurry.
Well, yeah, if people in the streets who are demanding independence in such great numbers in the other regions, if this becomes a civil war, it could be a bloodbath. And they also have a horrible economy. They don't have food in some of these areas and other things. So this, I think the second chapter of this is going to be more interesting than the first. They wouldn't have allowed these changes had they not been afraid of something.
I think we ought to be more holding our breaths and hollering, hooray, hooray, hooray.
Yeah, let's do that. At home, cab fares going up, and the bus fare. We'll be talking about that at 5 o'clock.
I don't care about the bus fare. I don't take the bus. Cab fare is outrageous.
Spoken like a true man of the people. Now here's more talk.
Outrageous. The cab drivers more than deserve an increase.
Here's Bob Lassiter.
Thank you, Johnson. Okay. Gee, awful hard, isn't it, to have a great deal of sympathy for either side of the debate that just went on here for the last hour and a half. But in any event, we'll throw it open at this point, 591-8900, 591-8900. I would be remiss if I did not mention that, you know, maybe the time has come. So you'll find this probably just as crazy as trading the Eagles for the Bears, but you'll listen to me without a winning season. Maybe the time has come to consider turning the University of Illinois into an all-girls school. You know? I mean, since obviously the boys who currently attend the great University of Illinois and the boys who refer to themselves as alumni are an embarrassment to the rest of us. I mean, this has nothing to do with academic achievement or academic excellence at the University of Illinois or even post-graduation accomplishments by some of the people who went there, but rather what they do with their spare time. Like, you know, drink themselves silly in fraternity houses, amuse themselves watching a fake Indian prance around, entertain themselves by watching the TNA Bimbettes, entertain at football and basketball games. Otherwise, of course, they are known as the Lionettes. Isn't that such a cute little name? And sometimes raping the co-eds. You know, it's what they do with their spare time at the University of Illinois that's just becoming a little bit of an embarrassment. And then to add insult to injury, bending over backwards to excuse or to justify the crap that goes on there. And meanwhile, I'm asked to subsidize the school. Yeah, I kick in a couple of pennies every week, or maybe a couple of bucks. I don't know how much I actually send there, but it doesn't really make any difference because I send money there one way or another through my taxes. And I'm asked to subsidize the fine young men who attend that prestigious university. No, damn it. You want my money? Then you listen to my input and you act accordingly. The dancing fool? He's offensive. He's got to go. It is offensive. The Bimbettes, they are demeaning. They've got to go. Okay, I know it's stretching a point. Say, well, you know, the dancing Bimbettes cause rape on campus. I don't think they cause any rape on campus. They just cause women to be demeaned. The drinking at events, it's disgusting. It's got to go. You can't police your parking lot at your football games and stop people from drinking themselves silly? Hey, cancel the football games. I mean, it would seem to me that you can do one or the other. And the anything-goes atmosphere at the fraternities, it is unexcusable and also unacceptable. Oh, just too bad that the guys in the frat houses don't want a little adult supervision. Well, those frat houses receive university sanction, and again, I know that somehow, in some way, my money is ending up subsidizing those frat houses. Now, I don't mind helping to pay for education. In fact, I think it's in my best interest, and it's a damn good investment. But I do mind paying the bill for a bunch of Neanderthals who get their jollies from having a pet Indian who dances at football games. I see no justification whatsoever for keeping a pet Indian around. Or airheaded bimbos who like to shake it, so the boys can watch it. And the bimbos who somehow think that they're contributing to society. And fraternity bros who see nothing wrong with forcing themselves on little sisters. And alumni who also see nothing wrong with any of it. I mean, come on, kind of reminds us of our good old days. I've literally heard people say, why, gee, when I see the dancing pet Indian, it fills my heart with pride. They don't call him a pet Indian, but that's what he is. It's all offensive and disgusting, and so are the people who condone it. And I'll be damned if I send my kid to a school like that. A school with attitudes like that. And I wouldn't be overly impressed with somebody who came from there either, who came from an environment like that. But, hey, I guess I'm just an outsider here, you know what I mean? I guess I don't really understand keeping pet Indians and bimbos. And I guess, of course, you certainly don't owe me any explanation. And besides, I suppose that if that's where you went to school, you'd probably be a little bit hard-pressed to put a few words together, let alone dial a telephone, if you know what I mean. And another thing that I wanted to talk about was yesterday's program. It was horrible. Horrible. I totally failed to communicate with the audience in any shape, manner, or form when talking about beggars. And then there was a monumentally boring interview where I asked a lot of dumb questions and let somebody off the hook. But there is something that came out of it. I was almost despondent when I left here last night. I had sat here for an hour with Judge Pynchon, and during the entire course of the interview, I kept saying to myself, God, this keeps turning to race. Geez, this isn't fair. This isn't what happened when Cusper was here. This isn't what happened when Phelan was here. Let me try to direct this back again. And I went home and I started to think about it. There was something that came out of that interview. There was something that came out of that show. And I've whittled it. Well, there are two things that came out of it. First of all, I have managed to whittle down the choice of candidates to just 3 for myself, thank you. Instead of the 4, it's down to 3. And allow me, if you would, to coin a phrase. Anyone who lives north of Madison who votes for Judge Pynchon ought to be hung. As should anyone who lives south of the street as well. Why? Because the judge is a bad man? A dishonest man? Not qualified? No, not by any means. He's not a bad man. He's not dishonest. He is not unqualified. But because he, and it seems every other black politician in this town, seems to lack a spine, just doesn't have a spine when it comes to distancing themselves from Minister Farrahkan. That's why. I am so sick and tired of the tap dance. I am so sick and tired of the lame excuses. Well, you got to understand, I don't think he really meant it that. I think it was taken out of context. The media. Well, you got to understand, they said some things I don't agree with, but, he says a lot of things I agree with. No, it just doesn't play anymore. Farrahkan is a man with an agenda, and it is not an agenda that is in the best interest of this community as a whole. Period. Plain and simple. Read my lips. And if anything has to be taken out of context, it's the handful of remarks that somehow seem benign. That is what is taken out of context. Not the remarks that don't seem benign. I don't for a moment suspect that Judge Pynchon is a supporter or a follower of Louis Farrahkan. I do not for one moment suspect him of being a bigot. As a matter of fact, it's quite the contrary. The only thing I suspect is that he's spineless like all of the other black politicians and afraid to stand up to the extremists in his community. I mean, for the last decade, we have had white politicians who did the same damn thing in this country. Oh, no, I'm not a bigot. As a matter of fact, I denounce bigotry. Yeah, that's what I do. But those same people refused to denounce the bigots. They were spineless white politicians who traded their souls for a handful of votes. It was disgusting then, and it remains so now. But the same damn thing is happening in the black community. It's just plain stupid, and I don't understand it. Sat here and watched him squirm yesterday. And I didn't feel good about it either. Tried to help him get away from it, and I was wrong. I was dead wrong. Unless and until the Pynchons and the Jacksons and the rest of the crowd have the guts to denounce this man and his movement, they just don't stand a snowball's chance in hell of winning the confidence of the rest of the community, white or black. And I'll be damned if my vote will go to a man who will not and does not denounce a racist. I personally like Judge Pynchon. He's a dignified, respectable man. He's a role model and a credit. But I don't buy his explanation for his remarks concerning people being hung. I can understand it. I too say stupid things in anger or in frustration. And outside of that instance, I'm not aware of anything in his background that would give me cause for concern. Except for that one minor little problem. It seems to be a disease amongst black politicians. The inability to distance themselves from Louis Farrahkan. And that's when Judge Pynchon lost me. And he lost my vote when he found a way around putting distance between himself and the minister. There is no way that I could ever support a white candidate who found a way to keep from denouncing a white supremacist. And it's time to hold the black candidate to the same standard. It's what's known as equality. I felt real bad yesterday when so much of the talk centered on race. It seemed unfair to me that when Cusper and Phelan were here that they didn't have to deal with that issue. But then neither man, to the best of my knowledge, has ever made racial remarks, nor has either side stooped to letting a bigot off the hook. And to tell you the truth, if I had to do yesterday's show over again, I would not feel bad about pursuing it even further. Phrases like, I want to serve all the people, just don't cut it anymore. I don't wish to be served by a man who also serves racists, regardless of his color, regardless of the color of the racists. I do not wish to be served by a man who also serves hate mongers. And you can make all the excuses you want for Farrahkan, but you cannot deny that he is a man who stoops to fostering racial hatred. I would not pretend to know what is inside Farrahkan's heart, but I do know what words have come from his lips, words like gutter religion, words like white devils, and I do know that those words were carefully chosen to bring out the darker side of the people that they were delivered to. I know it because I am not stupid. Nor is Pynchon, nor is Jesse Jackson, nor are the rest of them. They just act stupid when it comes to putting the minister in his place. There will be no peace. There will be no harmony in this community. There will be no true coalition. There will be no true full black representation unless and until this garbage comes to an end. Judge Pynchon can release all the tax forms he wants to. He can advance all the progressive ideas and solutions that he wants to. He can denounce bigotry till he's blue in the face, but so long as he makes excuses for Farrahkan, he demonstrates to me that there just is not enough backbone for me to vote for. And that's a shame. But I'm sure that the judge would want to be held in the same standards as a white candidate. And that's what I'm going to do. And it's what I'm going to do with all black candidates, local, state, or national. You want my vote? Don't embrace, don't smile at, don't wink at, don't nod to the likes of Louis Farrahkan. It's that simple. And if it's too high a price to pay for my vote, well, hey, so be it. I don't vote for whites who pander to white bigots, and I don't vote for blacks who pander to black bigots. And I also have a nasty habit of not listening anymore to candidates who don't catch on. A lot of the folks in this town are that way. Why is it that damn near every black who runs for office can't figure that out? I mean, yesterday a man sat not 5 feet from me in this very room, probably a good man, probably a decent man, probably a capable man, talking to a predominantly white audience, knowing full well what that audience thinks of the black Muslims. He steadfastly and convincingly denounces bigotry, but he won't denounce the bigot. Hey, that's just plain stupid. Judge, I don't want to tell you how to go about your business, my friend, but there are a hell of a lot more decent folks, white and black, out there than there are black Muslims or Muslim sympathizers. Best of luck with your campaign, Judge. Let me give you the telephone numbers: 591-8900, 591-8900. It's open from now until 7 o'clock.
Bob Lassiter.
By the way, just a couple of very quick programming notes before we go to the phones. Next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the show will move to McCormick Place. We'll be doing it live at the Oldsmobile exhibit. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 3 until 7. If you would like a chance to see the magnificent Lassiter in operation, it's quite a sight. But even before that, Saturday, not Sunday as I'd said before, Saturday from 3 until 5, I will be out at the WLS booth around the Oldsmobile exhibit at the auto show at McCormick Place, okay? Oh, yeah, and I have this note here, and this is unbelievable. Somebody named Sandy and all the folks at Illinois Bell Labs wanted me to say hi to them on the air. I mean, come on, folks. Does that sound like the kind of thing I do? To sit back and say, hi, I'm really glad you're listening, and I appreciate it very much. I couldn't possibly say that. Off it is to the south side, or South Shore, as the case may be. Hi there, South Shore. You're on the air at WLS.
Yes, Bob.
Mm-hmm.
I was just listening to your remarks about Judge Pynchon.
Mm-hmm.
And, excuse me, I must say that you blend in quite well with the scenery here in Chicago. I think you're a Floridian. Previously you were anyway. There were some doubts about whom I might consider for the president of the county board. And you've just given me the emphasis now to go forward and to vote for Mr. Pynchon.
Fine.
You know. I think that the other side of the...
You think that's going to make me not say what's in my heart?
Oh, no,
because
no, I know.
Threatened to vote
that's the way
for
you
Pynchon?
feel. No, I know that's the way you feel, and...
Dan straight is the way I feel.
I can't fault your feelings, you know, because being a recent Chicagoan coming here from elsewhere, first of all, this is the nature of this climate here. I was born in Chicago, and it's always been a racist city. There's always been bigots here.
Well, it's about time to stop things,
well,
so, don't you think?
It's never going to.
Oh, well, I guess it's not if people want to support racism.
Well, that's the people who come here bring this here. Okay, they bring it here.
Oh.
And it just manifests it. That's the only way it
didn't exist before newcomers moved to Chicago.
You know, and the only thing about Chicago that differs from other areas is that it's very subtle here. You know, everything is subtle. But believe me, there are Brutuses here, more so than there are in any other sector of this country. You know, they'll smile in your face and tell you how good of a guy you are. And at the same time, there's a knife stuck in your back.
Would you be suggesting that's what I am?
Oh, sure.
Oh.
That's what I was saying. You fit the climate very well here.
Uh-huh.
You know.
I see.
I'm not going to bite my tongue about that. That's the way I feel. That's the way I feel. But I'm not going to do like some of your callers said to you yesterday.
Well, I just wonder why it is that when a white person panders to a white racist, that is no, and it is no, too, by the way. But when a black person panders to a black extremist, that's, hey, we got to understand. I mean, we can't hold this against him. I mean, Ronald Reagan and his people were wrong when they pandered to the white rednecks in this country who are bigots. They were wrong. They were damned wrong then. They continue to be wrong. And a black who does the same thing to a black racist is just as wrong.
Well, the only thing, Bob, is that, I don't know, for some reason or other, white people have a tendency, here in Chicago, they want two things done. They expect two things from a black person. They want you to denounce the Reverend Jesse Jackson. They want you to denounce Louis Farrahkan.
I'm not asking you to denounce Jackson. I'm not asking you to denounce Pynchon.
You see, and
I'm asking you to denounce Farrahkan. Are you willing to do it?
Am I willing to do that?
Yeah.
Not in total, no.
I didn't think so.
I'm not in total, no, because the man...
No, but if somebody calls up the show and says, David Duke's not that bad a guy. He's a racist. He's a bigot.
There's good in everyone, even you.
Good in everyone, even me. Get off my phone.